The music industry thinks words are very important. To that end, the National Music Publishers Association has issued takedown notices to 50 websites that host lyrics to popular songs, saying that posting the lyrics violates the copyrights of the composers. The sites were originally targeted by University of Georgia researcher and Bay Area musician David Lowery, who fronted Capper Van Beethoven and Cracker and has been fighting for proper compensation for musicians. For a look at the legal action, we're joined by Rutgers Media Professor Aram Sinnreich. He is also an author of the book about the music industry called The Piracy Crusade. He's on the KCBS Ring Central Newsline. Thanks for the time today. Why do you think the industry is going after these sites?
Well, this is kind of a perennial story. It happened in 2007. It happened in 2009. I think a lot of it is public posturing. Remember that the National Music Publishers Association is a member organization, and they have to put on a good show for their members to show that they're looking for every possible source of revenues and trying to crack down on any third parties who are taking advantage of copyrighted content in a way that's commercial. But realistically, I don't think this is going to move the needle at all in terms of the availability of unlicensed lyrics on the Internet.
And do you think it will slow down these websites at all?
Well, it didn't happen in 2007, and it didn't happen in 2009. I mean, sites like Lyrics.com, sites like LyricsWiki, which were targeted in those campaigns, are still up and running, and to my knowledge, not currently licensed. So I'm dubious about the efficacy of this campaign.
Now, why doesn't the association simply put out lyrics and somehow make it up to the top of the Google list?
I love that idea, and I've thought that many times, and I have no idea why they're not doing it, and it would be a great question to ask them. The reality is that, over and over again in these industries that decry so-called piracy, as soon as they begin to make the copyrighted content available under licensed terms, either through a third party or themselves, what you see is consumers saying, hey, I love this. I'm willing to look at advertisements on this site instead of advertisements on the unlicensed site. And to be fair, there are some major lyric sites that are licensed by the NMPA, but consumers don't have the time or the expertise or really the interest to differentiate between what's a good site and what's a bad site. So ultimately, they're going to go wherever the search engine directs them when they happen to be looking for the lyrics. I'm
going to assume Lyrics.com is not one of the licensed sites. They're so aggressive about their spots, their advertisements.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not that there's actually a list that David Lowery put together of the top 50 lyrics infringing sites. And I believe that those are the ones that are getting DMCA'd by the National Music Publishers Association. But again, this is largely a public relations campaign. The reality here is that these sites, while they do garner some revenues, they don't garner enough to pay the kind of licensing that the NMPA is looking for. And furthermore, it's debatable whether they are net positive or net negative for the composers themselves, because obviously they're helping consumers to geek out on the music they love, and they're ultimately driving more interest in the music, which drives more sales, which drives more revenue. So it's a big, complex system, and it's very difficult to just kind of point to these websites and say they're a bunch of rogues who deserve to be taken down. I think it would be much better, as you pointed out before, to develop a more integrated system, to embrace these kinds of sites and embed links to download MP3s from Amazon or iTunes, and take advantage of that consumer interest to build a bigger business.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but musicians, have had a difficult time peer-to-peer sharing, like sites like Napster, and then now even legal streaming sites like Pandora and Spotify. Are there changes the industry could make to please the fans and the artists?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about, the old days, the music industry was about restricting access to the music. You would not be able to listen to the song unless the industry put that CD on that shelf in that store down the block from your house. These days, music, lyrics, videos, they're everywhere. It's, we're swimming in a sea of media. And rather than trying to restrict people from access to it, what the industry should be doing, and in some cases is doing, is trying to reward people for engaging with the content. Listen to our artist instead of that other artist. Look at these lyrics instead of those other lyrics, and we will make things easier for you. We will develop a relationship with you. And by the way, we're going to show you some advertisements and collect some money along the way. And I think, to be fair, that's what the NMPA is trying to do, but but they're kind of moving one part of the caterpillar without moving the other part, if you will.
Well, thank you very much. It was good to talk to you. Aram Sinnreich is the author of The Piracy Crusade.